Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Project Eris. It's been quite a while since I've seen you guys here, but I'm super excited to be back. And I've got Grace alongside here. She's really tired,
Hello.
so just give her the benefit of the doubt. It's been a long day, uh, but we've got three amazing matches. It's supposed to be four, but unfortunately we had some scheduling conflicts
hmm
that I'm going to be bringing in here, and I'm gonna have a few
hmm
guests along the way. Seed absence later, but we got Grace. I'm so excited. This is the first time we're ever casting together, so
It
uh,
is, yeah.
yeah, I'm so excited. This is going to be really cool.
Yeah, I think I've been meaning to cast with you for a very, very long time now, so it's going to be quite an interesting one, I think. Certainly an interesting matchup this evening, to be honest, Jazzman. I mean, we've got Mirage Scouts versus Slaughterhouse to get this started and underway. One thing I will point out is last week, both of these teams lost against the teams they were playing against, rather. Mirage Scouts losing 7-2 to Goo Goo Dolls, which is a very sharp loss, I'd say. And, Slaughterhouse themselves losing 7-4 to Disrupt as well. So both these teams, a little bit of a wounded ego right now. They want to show up tonight and they want to put on a good show and restore some of that confidence that they have in themselves.
Right. Goo Goo Dolls have just been steamrolling about everyone that they've gone up against,
Mm-hmm.
including Slaughterhouse. In the first week, it was also 7-2. Probably one of the best 7-2s I've ever casted in my entire life, but it was a 7-2 nonetheless. Slaughterhouse couldn't lock it out here. So now we kind of have these two evenly matched teams to get us in to play day number one. It's going to be really great. I think it's a great starting dish to get us in to Project Eris
Absolutely.
today. But yeah, I'm super excited. You have a lot of talented players on both of these rosters that have been waiting to prove themselves. I think that Mirage Scouts, obviously, they're not playing with Cavi, who I think is like their normal fifth. So a
Mm.
little bit of roster swaps going around here right now. I think she's just summing out. I think she has something. We don't know, but yeah. So it's going to be a lot of proving grounds here. I think that this is kind of going to decide how that midfield fight in Eris goes and how they can both
Mm.
Slaughterhouse or Mirage, if or when they can kind of push to the top of the standings. But yeah, I'm super excited. This is going to be super evenly matched, I hope.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we are going to see Munez, I believe, actually playing instead, who's a
Right.
player that I actually really do enjoy watching Munez play. I've seen her play before in other leagues, and certainly tonight, I'm sure she'll put on a good performance for you all at home. I do think this is going to be an interesting one. As you say, I think it's going to very much dictate how that mid table is going to end up being as time goes on throughout the season. And again, I do think often when two teams have had a little bit of a loss the week before, this is when they show up and they're ready to throw hands and everything just gets. And I'm here for it. I love that kind of play style. So I really do want to see a barn burner. I'm going to say it. I'm going to put it out there.
That's
Barn
the NA
burner.
word.
Yep.
That's our thing. Welcome to NA. You know,
Thank
it's
you.
so. But yeah, unfortunately, our first match is off air. I don't know if it's being community casted. I know one. Obviously, like we usually have, there's a community cast going on. I don't know if I think both of them are. So I guess both of them are
Mhm.
going on, but you don't get the excellency of us on the mainstream. You don't have that. You don't have the hair. You know, you don't get that. So
Your hair's certainly a lot cooler than my hair, to be honest. My hair is a bit of a mess right now. But what is also very cool are the standings. Let's take a look at them and see where everybody is at right now within this lovely season of Project Eris. As you can see here, Homeland Nova and Goo Goo Dolls on top right now, along with Girl Boss, who are all on 2 dubs each. So yeah, that's going to be really interesting going forward this evening, to be honest, seeing if any of that top three kind of shifts around. And then obviously, yeah, we see this mid-table, Wichita Wolves, Mirage Scouts, and Sinister Red, all on a dub each, along with Valkyries. Slaughterhouse have yet to get a dub, Jazz. They have
yeah.
yet to get a dub. This would be nice for them to get the dub finally tonight.
Yeah, I definitely think like if there's any team that can like win tonight, even given
Mm-hmm.
the standings at the moment, I think Slaughterhouse have a good chance at this point. Anyone has a good chance right now. I mean, the standings are all over the place. I think the biggest surprise for me is where Homeland currently sits, sitting above
Mm.
Goo Goo Dolls, who have been just looking on top every single game that they play. But we're going to see them play later tonight. Everything can change, and I think that they're deserving of that spot at the moment. They're playing
Mm-hmm.
so consistently. I think that's the most important part. Is they are consistent. They are just able to work with each other. There's no communication issues. There's no issues in play style. Everything is just smooth and fluid for them. But it's only been a few games. I'm pretty sure every team has played only twice at this point. So Anything can change in the matter of moments, and it can all start with
For
this game
sure.
right here. This could be one big domino effect where Slaughterhouse just top the standings all of a sudden because garbage just goes off a perk and just kills everyone. So we'll have to see what happens. Obviously, anything can happen at this point in time. We're so early into the season that anything can happen. But let's jump into the rosters. Let's see who we're even up against and who we're going to be seeing playing tonight.
Absolutely. As you can see on the side of Mirage Scouts, you have Munez coming in. She is subbing in this evening for you all. Erochiv, I always pronounce that incorrectly. Cassie, Tabby, and Monster Girl. Versus Slaughterhouse Women. So you've got Meg Ninja, Trip Smells, Kato, Garbage, and Lainey. Two absolutely stacked rosters full of a lot of players, and I'm sure you all know and recognize.
I was actually very surprised to figure out a while ago that Erotziv is just Victoria backwards. That one. That
oh
one
my
was
goodness, it is, isn't it? Oh my gosh, mind blown.
It took me way longer than it should have.
Yeah, I've only just realized it. And I'm probably going to forget it within the next 24 hours, and then someone's going to say it next week, and I'm going to be mind blown all over again. So I'm excited. I'm excited for that for play day 4. But for now, play day 3, we are going to get into the game very, very quickly. I am just going to give a little bit of a quick shout out because I think some of you may be slightly confuzzled by the last, picture we showed you of the standings where it showed Wichita Wolves. Wammen's team have indeed moved over to Wichita Wolves. They have been picked up by them. So I'm just going to give a little clap there. That's very exciting news.
Very cool.
And so, yeah, for those of you who are kind of like, hang on a second, yeah, it's Wammen's team. They have been picked up.
I love the representation. I mean, we have a PL organ here. We had 2. Rest in peace. I mean, the girl boss logo looks sick. The girl boss logo, I know we're not going to be able to see it tonight because we're not casting them over here. I don't know. I think it is community streamed. And if they have the logo, go check it out. It was made by Han Josie. It is just so beautiful. I love it. It's so cool. It's so cool. But so we have so much representation here in Eris, and it starts with these two. SH obviously shutting down after this. This is the last team that they're going to field, but they were in Challenger League and the North American League, and Mirage having a female team. Mirage obviously currently in the NAL, so very cool. And Wichita Wolves now, so welcome Wichita Wolves. Very exciting stuff, but can't wait to get into this game. I mean, I'm just my blood my blood pressure is rising right now. But let's go into the head-to-head between SH Women and Mirage.
Ooh. So as you can see here, we have Kavi versus Kato. We have mentioned previously Kavi won't be playing tonight. Munez is going to be playing instead. But yeah, very, very, relatively close, to be honest, when you look at these, some of these stats, certainly. Ratings, very, very similar, but the highest survivability on Kato there. So again, that can sometimes indicate maybe a little bit of bullshiness coming through from Kavi, getting a little bit cheeky with it, getting a little bit too hungry at times. But for the most part, her cost is very, very high as well. And yeah, high cost, low survivability. That is pure, I'm here to sweat it out energy. So I respect it, I appreciate it, and I'm here for it.
That is like you run into a room and get traded every single time. Like it's a rough survival rate, but I mean, if you're dying with a purpose, at least you got something going for you,
Exactly, and I think that's the thing with Siege sometimes. Sometimes you do need to die in order for things to happen. Sometimes, like, a really good example, obviously the map's being taken out now, but consulate office where you plant, and then a lot of the time you can just throw yourself out of that window to distract people who may be on the rappel, things like that. You're dying for a cause. You're dying to prevent them from preventing that defuse, things like that. So realistically, yeah, low survivability but high cost. It does show that these people are making their moves count, which is always a brilliant thing as well. And I think what else is brilliant is the map vetoes, which we're going to get right stuck into now. Drum roll, please.
There it is. Perfect timing. I'm like a magician. But yeah. I want to see Bank today. I think I might cry if I don't see Bank today.
Oh no! As you say it,
I'm gonna cry.
That has been banned out by.
I can't cry. I'm gonna ruin the hair.
Gonna see a villa ban and a clubhouse ban as well. Okay, so far, it's a bit of a mixy matchy one here. There's not really any particular big theme coming out other than Slaughterhouse immediately banning up Coastline, which
Ooh.
I'm not too surprised by that. I think it's still too early in the season for a lot of Coastline games. Chalet, however, so again, similar to Coastline, a relatively attacker-sided map we're going to see, in my opinion. So that's going to be quite an interesting one, especially when it comes down to who is starting on that attacking side. So let's see how this goes, Jazz.
Right, and Chalet can be one of those maps where it's like if you're not in a system and if you're not in an environment like Pro League where it's like you constantly scrim this map against each other, the map is just going to be attacker sided, like you said, and then it can kind of like shift in one way as you scrim it more and more against like. So in Eris, if we see more Chalet, it might change, it might become a little bit more even, but in most cases, you're right, it's going to remain attacker sided, and it is going to be aggressive as all hell. It's going to be all over the place, a bunch of people jumbled up. And positioning means about everything. So I think if there's one map that we could go on for this game, especially this sort of grudge match where two of these teams look kind of like they can take like a midfield position, they can kind of jump each other. I think this is the perfect battlefield for that. But yeah, I'm super excited. Like I can't stress this enough. Like last time I casted Eris, I almost lost my voice. So I'm ready. I'm ready for this.
Okay, I'm excited for that now. Well, not excited for you losing your voice, but perhaps the energy that we might see coming through from you. One thing I will say is, yeah, I think obviously Slaughterhouse haven't got a dub on the table yet. It would be nice for them to finally get a dub this evening. I think sometimes that could be quite pleasant in the first 4 weeks of a season when everyone starts getting at least one dub on the board. You always don't want someone to be getting no dubs. No dubs is never a good thing.
I think it could happen. I think Slaughterhouse will be the team that kind of breaks the trend. They're the only team, like you said, they're the only team that haven't gotten a single victory. I think it's possible. I'm putting it out. I'm putting it out there. I'm betting that Slaughterhouse will get a win this season. Is it going to be against Mirage? No, I don't know. I'm not very good at predictions. So, but I think that this is going to be, by the end of the season, the standings are going to be so even that you can't even tell who's on top. And at that point, you have to do some weird, quirky math. So there's a good chance that Slaughterhouse, I think, come out on top like this game. But there's also a good chance Mirage come out on top. They have some crazy players on both sides, and whoever wakes up the most, I think, is just going to be victorious. And especially on a map like this, which can just be so aggressive and kind of come down to those plays. Like, this is good. This is good for whoever just has more players. We like to call them awake, just ready, fragging all over the place, helping out the team. So we'll have to see what happens. It's going to come down to individual play, but also down to team chemistry. Everything's going to be tested here.
Yeah, 100%. And again, I think especially with Chalet, I think there's a lot of pivotal choke points within this map, which is going to be interesting to see a lot of the setups, a lot of the strategies that these teams want to bring to the table. Especially when a lot of the time people will go for the kind of top-down clear still. I think it's the safest way to go into it. And speaking of getting into it, we are going to get very much stuck into the action now, Jazz, starting with these little operator bans. I think we're expecting some very standard ones, at least on attack anyway, probably things like Thatcher, etc., etc. There we go, right off the bat, there's the Thatcher ban. Who is surprised? Nobody.
Right on cue. It was literally right on cue. I'm interested to see. Obviously, Thunderbird is going to be in place, and since Bank is, so I'm interested to see how they're going to work with that. Okay, this is an interesting one because Maverick is good. Maverick is one of the best operators in the game right now. Easily one of the best hardbreakers. Carries frag grenades, but there's this specific thing. It's only on Chalet where the walls are just so hard to Mav trick. I don't know what it is. I've tried it in ranked. I've tried it everywhere. I went into a custom game. There's some weird property where the barrier kind of like on the edge of the wall that you're supposed to break in order to Mav trick is like inside of the walls on Chalet. So Mav tricking is super duper difficult on this game, on this map rather. So, interesting to see that banned out from me personally. Obviously, no matter what, even if you can't Mav trick, Mav is still going to be strong, but just something to point out there. I'm not sure if that got fixed or not, or if that's just not a thing anymore, but it was crazy a while ago.
I'd say mostly these kind of attacking bans will mostly impact the approach to basement as well. I think realistically with the other sites, you can just go for the vert play if you do need to get anything off the walls. Certainly that's why we're going to see things like Sledge come through here, because again, Chalet for the most part, it is a very destructible map. You can absolutely go for the old interior design rework if you wish. So on attack and defense, to be honest, I want to see both these teams utilizing that verticality as best they can. One thing I will say that I really do love here, as well as the Alibi being brought out, I do have a little bit of a soft spot for Alibi, I will confess. Love the utility. Love the shield, love the bailiff. The bailiff's perfect. It's like a mini shotgun, basically. You make those rotate holes, get those hatches sorted, and then Alibi has a lot of nice guns on top of that as well.
She has a 1.5.
Very fun to do that. But, I was going to say tomato, tomato, but yeah, I do think people are quite particular about things like that. But I don't know. For the most part, I think that this is going to be an interesting one because, again, if Mirage Scouts choose to go for a more aggressive and direct push, which I think you theorize may potentially happen here, we might see them get a little bit punished for that with that utility, depending, again, where that utility is set up. It's a very easy way to get a quick bait of intel from some very, very aggressive attackers. So let's see how this goes.
And right, you brought up the Alibi shield as well. There's two things that you can do, not only with the Alibi shield, but also just having two shields on the board. And you can see it going on right now. If I'm correct, Meg Ninja's shield is positioned top blue, which is the very, your most default position. You have to clear that out if you want to push the way that Mirage are pushing right now. And then you have one top fireplace. Right where Lainey is sitting, there's a shield right behind the chimney. And the reason why it's there is because she simply cannot die unless she gets swung. Because she will either need to get naded out or, swung. So Mirage are going to make their way over to Piano, wasting no time, but they're already going to be met by the resistance of the shield top blue. They're going to have to clear the ADSs for Munas to get her nades through. You also have Tabby with those as well, so a lot of sets of nades here to work with, so should be cleared, albeit it will take a lot of time, considering you have not only a Jaeger, but also a Wamai to clear. A lot of flashbangs are going to have to come into effect to see if they can get rid of any of these shields. A swing here from Monster is going to be her demise very early on, as Trippy Mills is playing in a very risky position right now. Well, I say risky. She's playing a really, really passive position, very aggressively. She's going to be flashed out here, however, and you can hear the clear going on. Gon 6 is going to pop the shield, and that top blue presence will be nullified just for a little bit.
Absolutely, but this is the thing too, we do see these standard setups and they do work, but at the same time, because they're standard, everyone knows roughly how to approach them. Right. People know they have that utility in pocket and they know how to clear it out as best they can, so it keeps a nice level of competition up, to be honest. And well, speaking of competition, Kato's going to waste no time taking out her competition of Cassie. Trippy's also going to follow it up with a nice pick onto Munez. It's all left down to Tabby, and I'm just going to say Victoria, to be honest. All left down to Tabby and Victoria to try and make this work to their favor, but there's very little utility left. And look at this bullet count as well. Very little bullets, very little utility, and 40 seconds on the clock, Jazzman.
That's one way to work it, however. Get that kill on the Trippy, who's playing such an aggressive position. Tabby has to find two more, but Kato's playing such an aggressive position behind the shelves. You can't win that 9 times out of 10. The range is just always going to favor Kato, and Tabby will now follow Victoria in a 1 versus 4. Still has the shield and the presence inside a pillar. Lainey is going to hold this down. She is not leaving. It does not matter how much HP she has. She's going to stay here and wait. Victoria simply going to lose against the clock at this point. She just doesn't have enough time. She doesn't have no time machine, unfortunately, in her back pocket. Just a bunch of X-Kairos and a bunch of crushed dreams. Mirage Scouts, they looked like they had something going for them at the very beginning of their attack. They looked like they had a very fluid start, but then they started to swing into blue. They started to get a little aggressive against especially Trippy sitting inside of that boxed position outside of Library, and that's kind of where it all started to go downhill. Slaughterhouse just held their positions to a successful round victory.
Yeah, I think they need to go more for the utility dump first and then go for those swings. That's where they kind of had a little bit of an issue. They're trying to swing out without really facing the utility too head on, which is probably why we're going to see this Flores come through. I'm really enjoying Flores in competitive. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's really, really nice. You know,
He's
previously you'd have to go for just an absolute dump of tons of stun utility to absolutely just all of the stuns available to clear ADSs, Whammies. So you could then grenade or impact out whatever shield was left there. Now all you have to do is just send in a little Flores drone. It's great.
You also just get these really attractive cosplayers. Shout out to Artifacts Warden, a beautiful Flores cosplayer. I love that guy. He also does Warden. But yeah, the thing is like Flores is just, you can't counter him unless you have a mute and unless you have a pair of eyes. But at that point in time, Flores just has 4 drones that you can send anywhere you want to. You can literally do whatever you want. You can clear... I don't advise you do this. I advise you use flashbangs and normal drones. But you can clear Aruni gates. You can clear shields. You can clear... Cade? Electric Claw? No, was not happy with that one. But you can do everything with... You basically do anything with Flores. And on top of that, he has burn. He has flashbangs. So he can basically do it all himself. If he wants to throw in his flashbangs, burn the ADSs, get rid of the shields, he can do that all by himself. And without a mute in play here for SH Women's, who also kind of just got a little bit of a... I want to call it a nerf, especially because it kind of removed the area of denial ability of the mute jammers. But because mute has had a cylindrical sort of area of effect, and it turned into a sphere, you can't cover walls as much. So mute has been nerfed, but with the presence of a Flores, it almost feels like SH, if this Flores is oppressive, are going to have to swap out to the mute.
Yeah, absolutely, which is more changes. There's so many changes over time lately, especially this year. I feel like there's been more significant changes, to be honest, than ever before. Obviously, just my personal opinion. I'm going to start seeing these X-Kairos open up that wall nice and quickly. Kato holding the angle with the Alder. This could be quite spicy. This could be quite dangerous, depending on how aggressive they choose to get if they do try and go for the plant. They're going to have to remove Kato from that position because nobody wants an Alder to the face. It's like a hot knife through butter, as I say quite a lot. It is a disgusting gun.
They have no shortage of intel. They know she's there. It's just like, yeah, we know she's there, but like, what the hell are we supposed to do about it? She's going to run away, however, and play a safer position instead. That Alda is just terrifying in the right hands. Like, it can do anything and everything. But Mirage starting to work their way up. You can hear Flores Jones going off in the distance. I'm judging by the way that SH are playing. I still think that they have a shield sitting inside a piano. No, it doesn't seem like they do. So the shields are gone here. It's all going to come down to aggressive positioning here. And Victoria wants to initiate a post plan. She's gotten herself into half wall. No C4s at the moment here for Slaughterhouse. Is going to have to come down to gas. But no matter what, Victoria's going to stick this. Not even losing any HP here. It's a post plant immediately as Munis claims the first kill here onto Garbage. And a second onto Kato. Just lighting them up. A third for Munis. As she just completely tears through everybody on the piano window. Crosses are held by one single female player. And it's just down to Trippy. What can you even do when Munis is alive? Trippy will take her down in a 4 versus 1. However, the clock is once again against her this time around as she needs to make her way down to piano. As the clock strikes the 13-second mark, she's going to be all out of time. Simply doesn't have it. She can't win this. Every single person on Mirage is just waiting. Just like a pack of hawks. And they'll get her. What a round there from Mirage. They just got in. They just walked into the site, and because of the little piano presence, it ended up working out.
Yeah, they got that wall open nice and quickly, and then they there was a little bit of hesitation before the collapse, and then they just kind of went for it. Yeah, went for the execute very, very smoothly, to be honest. Couldn't have gone better for them. And again, that execute was virtually uncontested. Those Toxic Babes came out way too late. Yeah, really nice work there. And even in the post plan, essentially they're laughing because all you have to do at that point is hold angles, especially on that site. It's very difficult with that default plan to go for the post plan if you don't have an abundance of C4s, to be honest.
Yeah, that was the one thing that really shocked me is like Trippy was the only one on the board with a C4 and she was nowhere in sight. She could not deny that plant instantly. Now, was this just a shortage of C4s in general, or was this just bad positioning or bad timing from Trippy Mills? It could have simply come down to just unlucky timing, you know, and sometimes that's just all it does come down to, but you really needed her in that situation to just be that instant denial, because let's face it, Victoria was in there. No gas was going to stop her from getting that plant down at that point in time, and none of it even did damage, so you kind of needed that instant, you know, sort of, let's get rid of her. it would have helped a lot because you would have gotten the diffuser inside of half wall. You can watch it from piano. Honestly, that C4 could have changed the entire course of the round, but yeah, can't blame it all on one thing. You have to also keep in mind that SH were just kind of bundled up together. They were pinched inside of like that kind of master area. They couldn't make any plays because they were all stuck together, and Munis was holding their crosses as well. So it's a combination of those two factors that really helped out Mirage throughout their attack. They're going to be trying the same thing again. You know, if it isn't broke, don't fix it, as CDAPS likes to say. Let's move on to round number 3 and let's see how SH can adapt.
I'm in for a classic kind of attacking from the other directional approach, which I do appreciate, and I prefer when teams do this. I think you can cover ground a lot quicker, especially if there's not really a massive roam presence. Oh, that's a bit of a unfortunate situation. A yokai already being shot out within the first minute. Let's hope that one doesn't come back to bite them.
That one's rough. Can't lose your yokais like that. What are you doing, Kato? Come on. But did she just lose her other one? I thought, okay, if I feel like the way that she was just looking, I think she might have lost her other yokai. I don't know if that's true, but that was a tragic sort of stare down into the floor there from Kato. That might have been the greatest tragedy we've ever seen. But a very interesting adaptation here is that Kato has a shield inside of the half wall this time around to hold this angle a lot more aggressively. Is this going to work out as a question? As she's only got Jaeger ADSs to really block her from getting rid of that shield. You can hear the ADSs will get burnt, and they've opened the wall and also gotten rid of the shield. So Kato's going to have to back up just a little bit here. Flores drones popping all over the place. This is just a utility clear sort of round here for Mirage, just making their way in, taking a lot of time to just get rid of everything that they possibly can, but it's all going to come to a head very soon.
Absolutely. I'm really impressed with how quickly they're, and fluidly, to be honest, they're clearing a lot of this utility. Again, they're sending in those flashbangs when they need to, and they're sending in the Flores drones when they need to, and it's going to really work out for them. Certainly, you would hope that, there we go, Monster Girl is underneath and is presumably going to try and find these Electric Claws to shoot out. Again, a little bit difficult, though, compared to your old Bandit and Mute charges as well, because obviously they're not going to be placed on the floor. They're going to be hidden in all these ridiculous places. We did see one on the side wall. We did see one on the external fluke balcony as well. So a little bit tricky to deal with. We do have pressure now on fluke balcony, though. Tabby is holding that nice and strong. She does have 2 flashes in pocket too. Muniz is going to take down Lainey. Kato is going to retaliate by taking down Victoria. And Trippy is going to take down Monster Girl. Cassie, however, is going to retaliate by taking down Garbage. Muniz is going to take a ton of damage before falling down along with Cassie. Tabby is going to trade that back onto Kato, and it's all left down to Tabby now, but there we go. Mega Ninja can finish that off nice and strongly. Slaughterhouse, another dub on the table.
Yeah, Mega Ninja with the expert SMG-11 recoil control. She actually practices that, I believe it's 16 hours a day. She just sprays at a wall forever until she gets it down, and her hands are like scarred and everything because of how much she has to control the recoil. Her mouse pad is like burnt out, but yeah.
I feel like there's a very deep and rich story here, but
now Meg Ninja just plays a lot of smoke and also hates herself from what I've seen. But we'll talk about that later. That's a deeper analysis. But in terms SH, I think, just did a lot to the stall game, right? Like, they just wasted so much time out of Mirage, who looked like they had a lot going for them. They were able to clear out a lot of utility very early on, i.e. the Kato Echo Drone. But whenever it came to actually clearing out positions, whenever it came to actually flushing out players, even with Kato's shield being gone, even with her drones being gone, she was still allowed to play over by that half-wall position. She was still allowed to be aggressive with or without the shield and add pressure onto Blue. You had to wonder if opening that wall was even like a burden at that point, because she just had so much leeway to just swing out, make aggressive plays, and just be a general nuisance. And it really worked out for SH Women's. They kind of played off the back of her, and then SH, you know, while Kato was getting her kills, while she was, you know, wasting time, SH were able to rotate. They were able to rotate, help out their team, and just make this push from Mirage, which was basically kind of the same thing, just a living nightmare. and Munis wasn't as powerful on her window. She kind of died early. Everything just came to a head. It was really well played there from SH Women's. They're going to be going into a downstairs defense. Let's see how this one works out.
Absolutely, they've gone full circle now, going back to games and bar. They do have that shield set up at the top of blue as well, which of course it worked so well last time, to be honest. I'm wondering how Mirage Scouts are going to deal with it this time. Presumably they are going to try and use a bit more utility this time to clear that player from the top of that staircase positioning. It's a very, very strong position to hold. Super strong.
Kato's just going to be a time waster in this position, and she's got so many crossfires working alongside her. You had last time around Trippy sitting inside of the cubby to her right, and that's exactly where she is right now. You had Lainey sitting top mezzanine, and there's where she is. I mean, this is just textbook stuff. This happens basically everywhere, but it's just so darn effective. Victoria's going to take a lot of early damage. She tries to get rid of all those Omai discs and ADSs. They want to get rid of this blue shield as soon as possible, because once that blue shield gets, cleared, you have a lot more layers to work on as well. You have to get rid of the player sitting inside a chimney where Lainey is, who's just going to swing double. Are you kidding me? How does she get away with that? She just destroys Munis, who has so much utility on her. She has the nade. She has the Gone 6. Now none of it is going to be useful whatsoever. Lainey's just going to continue to apply pressure as Mirage Scouts are starting to fluster just a little bit.
Absolutely, but again, it's this idea that you do have to go for a little bit of a utility dump here. Would be curious to see if they went a bit more to the library corridor window for those drones to start off with on for the floor res, that is. Cassie's going to get the pick onto Trippy, however. So again, evening this out, even Stevens a 4v4, but 50 seconds left on the clock, and this setup still leaves a lot to be desired. I don't think this collapse is going to come through anytime soon at all. They are still struggling to clear some of these players, some of these positionings. The players on the side of Slaughterhouse have indeed gone back downstairs, really, to more defensive positions, and time is of the essence here, Jazz.
It's a whole new ball game now for Mirage. They had to clear out an entirely new layer, as like you said, everyone has rotated immediately. So now Mirage are just attacking something that they haven't even put a single point of pressure onto. And with 20 seconds left, they're going to have to go for a really aggressive play. Monster's going to take down Lainey. That's exactly what you need, a big catalyst here. But look at where Garbage is positioned. She's playing on default right now. If they want to go for a plant on the window, which they're not going to, Garbage is going to see the drop. It's a double kill for Monster. It's all of a sudden turned around. Garbage is in a 1 versus 3. She told me personally that she was going to be nuts this game, so I'm excited to see what she can do. The flashbangs, however, are just so overpowered in this new update that she's going to be completely blind. She's got nothing to work with here in Monster with her third. They made it work. There was so much pressure that SH were constantly applying. That's ridiculous. Check the Moss after this one. But anyway, what a push there from Mirage Scouts. They just made it work. They got themselves into bar even after SH fell. Came down to that kill onto Lainey. You lost so much pressure on that fireplace side, and it just allowed for Mirage to flood into bar, and a beautiful flood that was. We're now even 2-2 on Chalet.
Yeah, and I think realistically, to be honest, for both sides, I think if they end up on this first half on a 3-3 split, I don't think that's bad going for either side. But I will say that that round realistically could have gone a lot worse for Mirage Scouts, especially given the time that they were taking to clear that top floor, and then towards the end, Slaughterhouse essentially just kind of passed it over to them. They passed over that map control. They could have stayed there a little bit longer. Perhaps it's a little bit of unconfidence on the side of Slaughterhouse there. Perhaps they weren't confident in their ability to hold on to it for even longer, but realistically, I think they could have held on to it for a little bit more, held on to Library, and then it would really become clustered and flustered for the side of Mirage to then try and drop down from that Library area.
Yeah, and it really did seem like at the very beginning that, oh my gosh, they're rotating. This is so smart. They can't, like they're going to waste so much time. They're going to be really, you have to attack a new layer of the map in like 30 seconds. Like, this is brilliant. And then all of a sudden, you get that kill on Delaney, who is playing at the, kind of at the fireplace stairs. And then it all just came to a head. Everything fell apart because they kind of expected, like you said, that they had delayed long enough, that they had wasted enough time. They can just save bodies and just wait to take the gunfights. And then they lost that one-on-one with Lainey. and then everyone else got split apart because of it. And I'm not blaming it all on Laney, because it wasn't all Laney's fault, but that was the catalyst to get Mirage into the site, and it really, really helped out Mirage in the long run. So maybe you are right. Maybe they should have stayed a little bit longer. Maybe the bodies falling was worth it in the end, but we'll have to see what they're going to change up this time, because it seems like they're going to be running about the exact same attack. Let's see how they play this one.
Well, yes, indeed. And this is the thing, too. If you're going to this site for the third time now, third time out of 5? No, yeah.
Yeah.
So at this point, realistically, Mirage Scouts, they know what they're up against. They know exactly what utility is going to be here. They know where it's going to be. They know what they have to do to clear it. I think this is a little bit risky biscuits, to be honest, Jazz, to go back to this site.
It's kind of an old reliable, but like you said, like, after what just happened that last round, I don't know if this is the strongest site in your arsenal. I feel like the more can be done here. Tabby is going to clear the blue shield, however, so they are making time worth it here for Mirage, and this is really going to start to collapse on top of SH Women's. The more that Mirage attack this, the faster that they get. Laney, she's in a huge position right now, playing this top. Oh! She was on the top chimney, and that is such a good position for SH Women's, but they've just lost it. As Laney goes down, she might be recoverable, but at this moment in time, the entire chimney position has just been forfeited, and there goes Laney to the floor as Joan. It's just a flood here from Monsters. She's made it into Library. Fia has completely cleared out this entire top floor. It was just a speed run of the upstairs attack. That was just beautiful from Mirage Scouts. They got there down, they started to work their picks, and they just started to unfold the entire SH Women's attack. There's only 40 seconds left, and we're in a 5 versus 2. You have two of arguably the most powerful players, consistent players on this team, but there goes Munis as she claims garbage. This might be a flawless round, and Megnage can't find anything, and it is Victoria to drop down. This has just been a nightmare year for SH Women's, as you predicted correctly, actually. You were spot on. Head on the nail. Crazy how that one works.
There comes a point where it's like, good things come in threes. And I suppose a good thing here is that you've shown them the same strategy 3 times in a row now. Of course, they're going to get better at it every single time. And, the first time, yes, you won that site the first time. The second time, they clocked on and they managed to win by the skin of their teeth. And then the third time, it's a bit like they really know what they're going up against now. They really know what they're going up against. And of course, we just saw that very, very clearly. The utility was used perfectly. The aggression was absolutely timed perfectly. That was a very, very nice from Mirage Scouts. And that's 100% why we've ended up seeing that as a flawless round, to be honest, Jazz.
And it seems like SH are going to abandon their plans, but they're going back to a site that they've also already played. This is the 3rd time that we've seen them go upstairs, so Grace, what do you think's going to happen?
I don't know why they're so scared of the basement right now.
I mean, the basement is a rough site, but considering that you have a Maverick band, I feel like, if anything, it's the best option at this point in time.
This is it. The Mavericks band, the Thatcher's band, as I mentioned at the start of this map, because of that, there's not really a lot of verticality in that basement site compared to the other side. So you can't really go for the vert play to clear, electricals, bandit charges, things like that. I really... again, kind of showing your hand for the second time, it's a little bit risky biscuits. Let's see how they do with it, though. And again, we are seeing a little bit of an adjustment to the lineup anyway. They're not actually bringing the Maestro this time. They've got the Yokai again. But either way, Mirage Scouts are expecting either, an Echo or a Maestro here. They're expecting some form of plant denial, and certainly they're going to be on the lookout for it.
Risky biscuits. I feel like I'm an honorary British person while I'm near you. But
you can be an honorary British person. I knight ye, Sir Jazzman.
I got it, boys. I'm British. But yeah, you're absolutely right, and it's like the Maverick ban for me at least was an oddity, right? The way that Maverick is played on this map, you don't typically see the Mav tricking, which is kind of what we've been seeing basically on every other map. But whenever it comes to that basement site, there's so much you can do with Maverick. There's so much that you can do without requiring a Maverick trick. You can apply a lot more pressure just with Maverick altogether. So Yeah, I feel like if anything, SH need to play into that strong suit. That Mirage decided to ban that Maverick. They need to play into that and go downstairs, but they're going to be going back upstairs. There is one advantage that they have on this map, or on this site rather, and it is the Electro Claws. But you can already see that Tabby's brought the IQ specifically for them, and she's going to spot literally both of them. So they've gotten the counter to that. That was the one thing that SH really had going for them, was the placement of Trippy Mel's Electro Claws. But now, with that IQ being brought, they know exactly where they are. They're going to be able to open this wall with absolutely no trouble once they get rid of those Electric Claws. Oh, that's a rare miss there. Oh, you know what? That might have just been burned from Cassie. But a minute remaining. Mirage are going to have to get on their toes and get moving.
Speaking of toes, Victoria potentially at risk of losing hers if she gets too bulky around this fluke doorway. Shadow, however, is going to fall, and that leaves it nice and open for her now if she starts applying this secondary dimension to this collapse into that site. This is going to get very, very intense very quickly. Monster Girl taking down Laninator as well. 3 members remaining of Slaughterhouse, and they do have that piano shield to hide behind, but again, that office site now is completely open and full for taking.
They've spotted out Garbage on the flank as well. That was really your wild card that you had coming into this. That was the Joker that you had moving into this round, and they've just completely lost it out. And now it's a 5 versus 1. We are on the dawn of our second in a row flawless round, but Trippy will deny that. She'll take down Cassie. She's going to try and find a little bit more, but Monster Girl has just been on top of her attacks. The Zero menace on this attacking half. Mirage are going to go up 4-2. As to be expected on Chalet, but what a strong 4-2 it was, showcasing the power of their attacks in those last 2 rounds, getting 2 flawless rounds, and Monster Girl now on top of the scoreboard. What a beautiful showing there from Mirage. Scouts, we're going to be moving into the defensive side here for Mirage. Now, theoretically, Slaughterhouse are on the advantageous side, but let's see what they can make of it.
Absolutely, and not really too surprising to see a relatively similar lineup coming through from the attack right now, because again, the utility being brought here, it's very much needed, especially on Chalet. Again, very pivotal choke points where you need to utility clear completely to remove any defenders from these very, very nasty positionings. One thing that's going to be quite interesting is obviously we saw a lot of fluidity in the way that Mirage Scouts wanted to attack this map. Again, they very much knew the kind of, okay, this is the standard setup that everyone's been using for a good reason, but this is how we approach it. And I'm wondering what kind of adaptations they're going to make themselves in order to prevent that kind of typical approach to these sites.
Yeah, this site's a very common one, obviously. I mean, we've been seeing just how it was played 3 times. That's how confident that SH Women's were, but now we're seeing the Electric Claws being brought. Let's see what creativity Victoria might have. Apart from her name, which caught me off guard for a good, month that I've known it. It really shocked me whenever I was in the captain's call, and she was like, "It's just Victoria backwards." I don't know how to say it.
Blown.
I don't know how to say it. I'm pretty sure my head exploded. My head has never hurt that much ever since I was introduced to pre-calculus. Like that.
Was it those videos where it goes zooming into people's eyes and then it's like the universe and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one, absolutely right. That one blew my mind. That one was. I felt like I just learned about the most important thing in the universe, right? that was the most important fact I've ever learned.
Love this angle being held by Monster Girl. Very, very aggressive, very, very dirty, very ratty. It's the kind of plays that I do love to see, and certainly on a player like Monster Girl, absolute gunner in her own right. Currently going 7-2. Pretty good going.
Especially on Zero as well. I'm convinced that Zero, the Zero gun is literally 8-2. Tally another one up. What a beautiful read. That is going to get the blood boiling on the side of SH Women's. However, this nade could be exactly the refrag that they need. It's an explosive start here. The Chalet attack as Magninj surrenders Munis's life inside of Owl. Now it's a task to recover the diffuser as Meg looking to go 2 for 2 like LeBron on his sick day. On his flu game, rather. You don't know what that means. What's a good soccer term?
I don't know.
Like Wayne Rooney in his prime. Like,
Wayne Rooney in his prime.
that was a while
Wayne
ago, wasn't
Rooney
it?
doesn't have a prime.
Wayne Rooney is Wayne Rooney. Okay,
The man's 99% dust.
Steven Gerrard in his prime. There you go.
Okay, I respect that. But no, this diffuser nicely firmly plunked in that trophy area. 40 seconds on the clock. Why has this diffuser not been picked up yet? It feels like there's a lack of intel here. They need to grab that diffuser and make their way upstairs, but there's a lot of issues here. And Mirage Scouts, if you're them right now, you're kind of chuckling to yourself. You feel, I have the power right now. Diffuser's down. They're not going for it. Now they've gone for it. Trippy is going to try and rotate with that, but it's too late, to be honest, Jazz. It's way too late. 20 seconds on the clock.
When he's inside the site, they just need to get Trippy. This might just be a game of time. Because Slaughterhouse have the man advantage. They have everything going for them, but they might not be able to make it to the site in time and simply put the diffuser down. Tabby's gone huge and taken down 2. And now Victoria takes down Magnet. Trippy has the diffuser, but everyone is just so split apart. She needs to find this frag and plant, but she can't do it. It's a triple kill here for Tabby, and the catalyst that entire round was a C4 that was so well read by Hot and Cold's girlfriend, Monster Girl. 8 and 2. Just pops off on those early attacking rounds, and then basically wins an entire attack on or entire defense on her own with that amazing read from her C4. That was beautiful. The second most, the second greatest thing I've ever learned is that Victoria's name is backwards. The first most incredible thing that I've ever learned is that Monster Girl is the greatest C4 player of all time.
You truly are having your mind blown during this season,
like
aren't you?
I need to write this down.
You need to make a collection of small anecdotes about the season and how it's gone
Wayne
for you.
Rooney is old.
Wayne Rooney, he's not old. He's just dusty. Like there's just dust.
What is
like
when
you just look at people and it's like I just feel like if I touched them, a layer of dust would come off. Like I don't know how to.
What?
I don't quite know how to articulate it. I'm not gonna lie,
like this. Dusty. If someone
very
is
dusty.
They're not old, but they're. Wow.
Just like they just have the air of dust around them, but
this entire broadcast is hurt. I don't think you understand. I'm not a. I consider myself to be decently smart, but this is hurting.
Well, what's certainly going to be potentially hurting is this exact same setup. It works. It works so well. We see everyone use it across many different tournaments, many different leagues, and it's for a reason. A spawn peak coming through from Monster Girl. No one's gonna quite spawn there though, so unfortunately, no scalps for you today, Monster Girl.
She was hunting wabbits. Everyone is outside of trophy, so it seems like they're going to be going for a very similar attack. They want to move their way up solar. And they're gonna run as fast as possible just to make sure that they don't get C4'd.
They're not even bothering, are they, with the top floor? They're like, we're not doing it. We'll just immediately rush in and take site and go for the plan.
That's smart. That's how you avoid conflict. You just go around it.
If this works, I will lose my mind.
And if this works, I will be so smart. I will feel so smart. I don't know. It is definitely going to be rough, like you said, especially because even though they don't have a blue shield, they still have even though the blue shield is not getting attacked, rather, they still have blue presence. They can still work against that, and they can still, from blue, push out everyone who tries to go for that kitchen attack. And you can see Kato's already going to be feeling the upstairs pressure as she spots out the Jaeger sitting top kitchen and kills her off. As Mutis gets caught lacking, Kato is able to clear her out, but it's these face checks. It's simply coming down at the moment. Slaughterhouse's attack is coming down to Mirage's mistakes. So they're going to have to adapt a little bit. They're going to have to work against this. I still think this attack can work, albeit it is going to be very, very difficult. But there's a lot that can go into this.
I don't know. I think the boat may have passed for them to do it. I think if you're going to commit to a direct underneath roundfall push like that, I think you need to be way more aggressive, sending those flashes and go straight for the jugular, to be honest. Just go straight piling into that bar area together. There's only one player on site, and then at that point, you just hold angles, go for the plan, I guess. And then it's a post-plant situation.
Laney's already starting to understand why this is a little bit difficult, but you're right, they're just going for it. Garbage and Magninj each claim a kill of their own, but Monster Girl with an FMG is going to claim one on the garage stairs. Tabby, a very important gunfight that she hasn't won just yet. She's going to retake the upstairs, and Laney's going to chase her down. Laney's going to chase her all the way up, and Tabby falls. It's all down to Monster Girl. She's been showing up big here, but can she get a 1 versus 4? She'll take down Magninj. Second kill. Monster Girl's got a lot of time to work with as well, claiming that second kill in the perfect span of time. However, she's got a crossfire working against her. A player sitting on the fireplace stairs. 2 kills here for Laney as she helps claim the round. That attack fundamentally just seemed so difficult there for SH. They just seemed like they were in a cage, but it worked out in the end.
I mean, it's very, again, it's very positive, to be honest, that obviously, I think we're going for a rehost, actually. Little tactical rehost coming through potentially here. Unsure if the teams are going to reconnect, but no, okay, it does appear to be a rehost indeed. Obviously, staying away the best they can from that match point situation, it is going to be certainly pulling the wind under the sails right now for Slaughterhouse, because it was getting a little bit rocky for them. A little bit rocky.
Right, absolutely. And it's a wake-up call as well for Mirage that SH still have a lot of life left in them. They still got the blood flowing at the moment. But this round, I mean, you couldn't have it be any more tense. Have a rehost before it. But this next round means almost everything. Because this is where it's going to be, it's either 5-4 or it's match point, and Slaughterhouse all of a sudden had to come back from a 3-round deficit. And that's a far reach. That is a lot that you're going to have to work against. 3 rounds to 1. I mean, obviously it's doable, right? Anyone can do it. But it's really difficult. It's way more difficult than having a 5-4 where anything goes, where Slaughterhouse, they just need to start piling up their momentum and start pushing forward. And then all of a sudden they'll be on match point. They'll be able to pressure Mirage. This next round is so crucial to how this game is going to go. And I think more than anything, Slaughterhouse know it. They're going to play it like it is. They're going to play it like it is the most important round of their lives, because at this moment in time, it is. So we're going to have to see what happens.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree with you. I think the last thing Slaughterhouse want right now is match point. Again, they do not want it to go to match point, because that's when the pressure really starts to pile up. And you really have to, pull your trousers up a little bit to pull it back to potentially overtime at that point. And again, I just think that's a hassle they don't want to deal with. The previous round, it certainly will benefit them. At the same time, there's this idea of kind of, okay, well, did that work because they tried something a little bit outside of the box, when even the round before, when Monster Girl got that really beautiful C4 kill, going for something a little bit outside of the box actually ended up with them being a little bit punished, a little bit thrown around. So I really don't know realistically what the right call for them to make is, because I think if they go back to basics, obviously there's a lot of specific things they have to do, and they have to follow these steps to the T in order to get that execute very clean and concise and get that round win in the bag. It does seem to slightly benefit them if they do things a little bit outside of the box, but again, that can also be unraveled so easily. A tricky one, a very much tricky one.
Ironically enough, I mean, it's like a time bomb, right? Any little change, and it's all downhill. And it literally came down to that. It was a C4 that, like you mentioned, gave Mirage an entire round. There's a lot of variables that if you tweak them just a little bit, you have a completely different result. And that's what we've seen basically this entire game. This entire game is a ticking time bomb, where if you cut the wrong wire, you're in for a really nasty surprise. So at this moment, I'm just waiting, obviously, for rehost confirmation, yada, yada, HUD bug, welcome to the new season. But while that goes on, I think it's good time to discuss how the attacks have been going, because at this moment, obviously, Mirage, they had that steamroll going on in the, sort of the first, or the last rounds. They had those 2 flawless, but SH are starting to pick it back up. Now, you mentioned it. It could be those unconventional plays. It could be your kitchen pushes. It could be you're heading straight into sight, ignoring all your control. But is that a good sign? Is that something where it's like, oh my gosh, Mirage, they're gonna start freaking out because all of a sudden they have completely different pushes going on. They're not running, SH aren't running defaults, or is this just going to be SH running themselves into the ground because they're doing something unconventional just for the sake of being unconventional? It's going to be a rough game. It's a game of mind games.
Yeah, and I think also on the side of Mirage, you have this idea where, their attacks, I wouldn't say they were aggressive, but they were confident. They would go for that very direct utility clear, go for the setup, go for the collapse. And it was very smooth and very energetic, I suppose is the way to describe it. Again, not aggressive. It certainly wasn't aggressive. It was very by the book, but it was very clean and very confident. And I'm just wondering if perhaps on their defense now, they need to bring that same kind of energy. Often, again, if the attack have a set standard format in which they want to approach a map, if you're a defender and you decide to do something a little bit outside of the box, it's going to benefit you way more as a defender than an attacker. Again, the attack have their steps, step A, step B, step C of where they want to get to. If you suddenly pop up halfway through that in a place they're not expecting you to be in, that's going to completely throw a spanner in the works. Very difficult to deal with that kind of situation. So again, I'm wondering on the side of Mirage if it's worth certainly, again, yes, having that energy, but again, just maybe being a bit more aggressive with it.
And it's also the fact that it's like you mentioned, you said I think a really important point is that you can be unconventional on defense and get away with it, but attack is where it can be really difficult. And obviously, on a map like Chalet, where you have very extended control, whenever you play a lot of offsite positions, you can kind of afford to be unconventional. You can afford to play those off angles and just catch a player off guard, because this entire map is all about positioning. Whenever it comes down to the brass tacks, it's all down to positioning. And if you're able to play that unconventional position and throw positioning off on the attacking side, it can really come to benefit you. But at the same time, we've seen time and time again this entire game that those unconventional positions can also get you killed.
Yeah, and again, this is it with kind of being a bit more aggressive, a bit more bolshy with it. Mirage Scouts, there was that round again, the round where Monsteel had that nice C4 kill. There were some very aggressive angles being held using that soft destruction, to be honest. And again, this is a map with a lot of soft destructibility throughout, and I'm wondering if Mirage can start to use that a little bit to their advantage, or indeed if even Slaughterhouse could start to use that to their advantage on some of these approaches. I mean, obviously they are going to have to start getting top floor control, push it more towards the northeast as well to get that bedroom and solar control as well, and then the verticality can really start coming through there. It's pretty much how you used to approach that site on old Chalet, to be honest, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That is a line that us casters say a lot here in Siege, and it makes a lot of sense because it applies in this game way more than you might think it does. Laney gonna gather a lot of intel, and you got a really interesting setup going on around here. The castle barricades are gonna stall out a lot of time because you haven't brought an Ash. You've only brought a Zoe and a few Gone 6s to deal with this. So or even the Hibana pellets if you want to deal with it that way. It seems like that is not what's going to happen. Yeah, so this castle barricade is just an extra layer of time that's going to be wasted. Now that time could, it doesn't matter right now, but that could come down to haunt SH later. We'll just have to find out and see if it's really that big of a deal. They're going to keep on looking at this, and nothing has changed. The shield's still there. Utility not burnt out whatsoever. SH Women's stalling out, and this is a problem that we see them have a lot. It can really come back to bite them if they don't start to work on it.
Absolutely, and again, time is of the essence. I feel like both of these teams can struggle sometimes with these attacks in terms of their pacing, how they're using this time and where they're going to be. And oh my goodness, I really do not like the flash changes. I'm going to put it out there. I do not like it.
They're just hopeless. Oh my god, Meg! The one team killer! I think there's a statistic that Megnage has the most TKs and then the most refrags for her own TKs in the entire game. She'll claim Victoria, now gonna move her way over to Solar. Please don't sprint into that gunfight, you're gonna make me cry. As she moves her way over, Kato's gonna claim 2 as well. SH Women's are just fragging out. They've got Mudasauer sitting inside a trophy! And the call isn't made! Garbage and Magninja all fall. Munas is gonna claim a third with the help of Monster Girl, who gets her triple kill. And Munas, now 1 versus 1. Does Kato have the time? She has to fight it, but she can't. The time has simply run out. It has been such a factor this entire game. The clock strikes 0, and the heartbreak ensues. Slaughterhouse, we talked about this. One of the most important rounds. That entire game has just been lost by Slaughterhouse. It seemed like they had the advantage going towards them, but then Munas was positioned inside a trophy, played spoiler. Mirage scouts are now on match point. They need 1 defensive round, and SH Women's will be 0-3.
But again, that's exactly what I was talking about what I wanted to see from Mirage Scouts. I wanted to see just suddenly someone appear somewhere they weren't expected to be and do an absolute cleanup. And that's what happened. This is the nature of the beast when it comes to things like this. Again, if it gets to the point where the attackers, they're going full steam ahead because they're just not expecting you to be there at all, and then suddenly you pop up like, surprise, it's me. Here's a gun to your face. Yeah, it works, and it worked perfectly then. And as we say, it's now match point, which Slaughterhouse, they definitely did not want this to happen. The pressure's really going to be on because they have to win 3 rounds in a row now to pull this to overtime. The pressure is on. The stress levels are rising. The adrenaline is pumping. We asked for a barn burner, and we're certainly getting it.
Community casted game between Tachanka's Angles and Girl Boss. Please mute your channel. And thanks to a horrible TikTok posted by Sad Girl Tara. Just an absolutely atrocious. I just hate looking at it. 7-0. 7-0 for Girl Boss.
Goodness gracious.
7-0. Grace, that's your name. But 7-0. That is absolutely crazy. That is one way to go 3-0 in Project Eris, but we're about to witness 0-3. SH Women can't pick it up. We'll have to see what they can do here because, I mean, we've been harping on this all game. We've been harping on this the entire series. Playmakers. Those people, like you said, that can just play those off angles, that can just do the unconventional thing and catch attackers off guard when they least expect it. Those playmakers are in the favor of Mirage Scouts, and I brought this up pre-game as well. Whoever was alive, whoever was awake, they were going to help their team and they were going to win. And I was not incorrect about that. Right now, it is just the Munas and Monster Girl show. Everyone on that side is awake. We see some appearances from Tabby as well. Everyone is awake on Mirage Scouts. Can't say the same thing for SH Women, but they've got 3 more rounds to come back. The game is not over just yet. We're going to be seeing a clash here by Cassie as well. This could be wow. And that way, well, that's not the way to start. Megnin's off a TK last round, and now down by the frost mat. We'll get revived, but still a tragedy nonetheless.
Interesting, because obviously a lot of that intel is going to be fed back, and these C4s can potentially go for... They have a pre-play set, and there we go. There's the pre-play C4 being popped finally. Trippy and Kato falling. Very, very nice teamwork there from Mirage. Laniator, however, is going to shut down Monster Girl before she can cause any more damage and chaos to her teammates.
That is a shocking C4. The third C4, 3 C4 kills here from Monster Girl. Megninj now just in a world of hurt right now, but Garbage, a massive play to be made here. Takes down Tabby and Cassie. It's just down to Victoria, 1 versus 3. Everyone very low except for Lainey, and she's got an F2 to rip and tear through. Take down Garbage, 1 versus 2. Now on the rotate, gonna just swing wide. Catching out Megninj on the rotate, she can't get it, however. Still alive, Megninj, surprisingly, just going through hell. But is able to live. Now just has to play off of Lainey's contact. That's all she needs to do. Just play off of Lainey's contact. Make it work. Play your 1v2s. And it's gonna happen just like that. SH Women's, it was a shocking start there for Mirage. It almost felt like it was over. Everyone held their breath as that double C4 was ripped. But it was still around for SH Women's. This game has got me feeling a different kind of way. I'm nervous. I'm so nervous.
Well, that's 1 round on the board. Slaughterhouse have to get 2 more. Again, 2 more to push it to overtime. They are still on match point. That certainly hasn't changed. That pressure is still going to be there. But oh my goodness gracious me, that could have gone the polar opposite way. It was really just that nice little 2K towards the end then that really set the momentum and completely swiveled and 180'd the round on its head, to be honest. Yeah, incredibly lucky players coming through from Slaughterhouse there, and I think they're going to feel hopefully quite confident based on how that went. Quite relieved, and again, maybe they're really going to start focusing now and knuckling down and working out, okay, maybe we need to try something a little bit outside of the box here.
Yeah. I was just shocked to begin with that C4 went off. Like I said, I'm sick right now. I have a cough, so holding my breath wasn't the best thing. But I certainly did. That entire round, I held my breath. I was casting without breathing, and it was shocking. It was shocking, but we'll have to see what happens. Mirage, they're going to be going to a site that we haven't seen them on way too much. Last time around, we saw, like we said, that unconventional play. I think the key vocabulary word of this game is unconventional. Because everything that this game has come down to is those unconventional plays, going outside the box, working against the defaults, and pushing against the tide. But it seems like SH are going to do the exact same thing here. I'm not sure if this is going to come with a top floor clear. I'm not sure if this is going to be that sort of blueprints that we see a lot from, well, Mirage whenever they were on their attack. That sort of default way of pushing this, or if this is going to be yet another kitchen push, if this is going to be yet another sort of default or sort of SH take where they just move their way in like a pack of wolves and just tear through everyone on that kitchen side. But a little adaptation has been made. It's a very hard to spot adaptation, but if you look at the dining wall facing closest to fireplace, whenever you get the chance, it's open. And that's open for Martha, for Munis, who's playing top fireplace, or Monster Girl, who is playing on the bar corner to kind of work with and get rid of the people inside of dining. That could come down to be very crucial if SH decide to push that kitchen hall, but it seems like they're going to be going for a very standard take here as they move their way over into Ivy.
Absolutely, but again, these audio cues are presumably going to let some of these players know. Certainly Tabby, again, in that very, very strong position behind the shield. A lot of wiggle room to work with, that flash utility coming through, but again, so much defense here. ADSs, shields for days.
Oh my lord.
Yet another C4 kill on the board.
What is
Monster Girl there.
She's so good!
Attackers
Sorry.
recovered the diffuser.
Sorry. I'm just too excited. Oh man. That is the 4 C4 kill if you're keeping track at home. That Monster Girl has gone this entire series in a best of 1. That is shocking.
I'm very, very curious to see if we're going to see any more utility clear really from the side of Slaughterhouse. And oh, there we go. Cassie is going to get shut down there by Laney, who Cassie is going to shut down Laney. And again, that's more of that utility off the board that the attack could certainly use right now. They are going a bit more direct now, Jazz. They are going way more direct, and they're going to try and make this collapse happen. But Munez has something to say about it as she takes down Garbage. It's now 8-2 versus, well, there we go, 2v4. And they absolutely clean up their Mirage Scouts, making it just look like another day at the office.
That was rough. SH kind of had themselves going there, you know. They kind of had the same attack. They had us. I thought that they were going to be going for another, the first ever Ivy push, and then they translated that downstairs into a kitchen attack. But they win one very fatal error, one very crucial error, and that was not getting rid of the Jaeger playing inside a fireplace. That killed all of their chances of winning that round. And also just the fact that Mirage were able to quickly adapt to that. They managed to get that player sitting top blue on Tabby just down and just firing down basically like a gunning range down in the kitchen hall. A combination of that crossfire. It was just fatal. Slaughterhouse thought they can get away with it twice, but unfortunately they couldn't. It's 0-3 for them. It's time to wake up. It's time to kind of get the ball rolling here. Unfortunately, it wasn't this game. We'll see what happens from now on.
Yeah, and I think, again, if I was Slaughterhouse right now and I'd go back and I'd watch that, I'd be like, perhaps going to that site on our defense so many times in a row after they were showing that they were starting to adapt to it was perhaps not the best play to make. Again, I'm very curious as to why they just decided that they didn't want to go anywhere near basement. I think, yeah, maybe realistically, a lot of people, they don't like to go to basement, but it can be a strong site, and it certainly, if you have the right utility on the board, which realistically they did, you can make it work in your favor. Disappointing. I think they're going to feel quite disappointed about how that went. And again, I think that was the moment where they really did want to get their first win on the board, but ultimately Mirage showed up today and they were more adaptable to everything that happened. They were knowing when to be aggressive and when to be passive. They were knowing how to approach everything in a way that was very clean cut and coherent and almost very perfectly mechanically, to be honest. I have absolutely no qualms really with the way Mirage played that. I think they played that really, really well tonight. I'm very, very impressed with how they played that map. But again, I think that, obviously there's going to be a few little mistakes on both sides. This is the nature of it. But I think, yeah, Slaughterhouse next week, they need to bring the thunder. They really do.
The thunder. I like that one. Yeah, Slaughterhouse, I mean, it's do or die at this point, right? Like, they really needed this victory today. They really needed to step it up and get that 1 and 2 to put themselves on the board. They're the only team without a victory. We have to keep mentioning that, but yeah, very unfortunate, especially because they look like a solid team. They have very solid players, but they just have this weird style where it almost feels like they forget to push. They forget this one key thing, and it screws up their entire attack. We saw it whenever they went over to that secondary for the second time that they pushed down the kitchen hall. They forgot to clear out fireplace. They didn't drone Munis playing aggressively. They saw the dining wall. They should have kind of known at that point that, something was going on. And it really, really was rough. I think there needs to be a little bit more drone work invested by SH Women's, and also a little bit more kind of that cohesion, of that kind of just being able to get each other's refrags. There's a lot of plays that happen on the side of Mirage that shouldn't have happened, but simply because there was no call made or because no one was there, it turned into a nightmare.
Yeah, I think, that pretty much covers it, genuinely. I think, it's been a little bit, I'm not going to say risky biscuits, but yeah, just some of the way that these approaches were going, it was risky biscuits. And it was risky biscuits. Like, as you say, like, obviously drone everything out and stuff, but it's like there was certainly points where it was like they had the right idea, but they needed that extra little confidence boost there. And again, I think maybe just a few tweaks here and there. They'll be all right. I'm excited to see, again, I'm really excited to see. I do think they're going to get a dub at some point. I just don't know when. And I certainly think now is the time where they really need to sit down and they need to go through everything and be like, okay, we need to stop doing this. We need to adjust this, blah, 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 blah.
Well, that was risky biscuits, unfortunately. They're a very dusty game by SH. I've been your honorary British jazz man. This has been Grace. It's been an absolute pleasure. I know that you're tired, so you're going to get some rest. But thank you so much for joining me. It was a pleasure. Obviously, it was our first time.
Thank you.
And I really enjoyed it. But I'll be back. Unfortunately, Grace will not. She needs her sleep. I'll be back with CDABs for games number, would it be 2 and 3 or 3 and 4? 3 and 4. Thank you, CDC. We'll be back with HLN, with Homeland Nova versus the newly crowned Wichita Wolves. I've been Jasmine. Ooh. This has been Grace. We'll see you on the next match.